All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to the SmartCube's Introduction to Amplifi PRO webinar. My name is Omar Abdullah and I'm a co-founder of the firm based out of Chicago. I know many of the folks who have joined the call today. I'm joined by my colleague, Prerna Dhawan, who is our Global Head of Solutions, who's based out of London. And amazingly, we're actually hosting this webinar on a day when the weather in our respective cities is pretty much aligned. We're in the high 60s and low 70s here, which translates to low 20s for those of you who speak in Celsius. Okay, before we kick off, a couple of quick housekeeping notes. First, this webinar is being recorded. So if you miss a part of it or you'd like to share it with a colleague afterwards, you're going to be able to do so with the link that we send to you post this webinar itself. Second, we'd love for this session to be interactive. So if you have any questions as we go through, please do use the Q&A function to post any of those questions that you might have, and we'll answer them as best as we can. And the box should be to your right at the bottom of the screen, the Q&A button there. Now, the meat of our webinar today is going to be Prerna walking us through the actual demo of the Amplifi PRO platform. But before we get to that, I thought I'd provide a little bit of history and context to help set the scene for the discussion that we're going to have today. So let me start by clarifying what Amplifi PRO is to those who are brand new to the platform. Amplifi PRO is the SmartCube's on-demand digital procurement intelligence platform. It's a platform through which we deliver all of the essential procurement intelligence, the category resources, the ready-to-use tools and templates to the global procurement community. It's our single central gateway for clients to consume off-the-shelf intelligence, access our proprietary solutions, and make custom requests as and when needed. The content within the platform, as Prerna is going to walk you through, offers a wide range of content, and it includes more than 400 category insight reports, a dedicated COVID-19 resource center. There are reports on megatrends and sustainability, innovation, all the big ticket procurement issues of the day, as well as pricing and cost structure data across hundreds of commodities. There's also premium partner content from folks like CASME and Spend Matters, and a whole host of other tools and templates there as well. So as you know, the platform is available for free. Any procurement practitioner can access it. Sourcing managers, category leaders, supply risk managers, center of excellence teams, etc. Now the idea for Amplifi PRO, in terms of where it came from, it grew out of the work that we've been doing with procurement professionals over the last 20 years. As we became more and more integrated with our clients, doing the custom work that we do with many of the folks on this call, we realized that in addition to this custom work, there was a real need for structured, off-the-shelf intelligence, tools and templates that you could access on your own on a self-serve basis, all of which were allowing you to enable yourselves, so to speak, right, to be self-sufficient. And given that we built a host of these kinds of tools and templates as part of our internal knowledge platform, we decided that it made sense to open up a portion of that internal platform to the procurement community at large. And Amplifi PRO is the result. It's really an exciting and unique proposition, a unique solution, one that we believe is going to change the way procurement professionals work and make decisions, make better decisions. We think you're going to get tremendous value from the platform, both now and in the future, as we add more and more to it, and it will grow as we go forward. So with that, let me hand it over to Prerna, who will talk us through the goals of this webinar and then take us through the platform itself. Prerna?
Great, thanks Omar. Hello everyone. I am very excited to be here today and presenting to you all about Amplifi PRO. As Omar said, it is our on-demand intelligence platform. So if you received a link via email, or if many of you would click from our website or social channels, you will land on this login page. If you're a new user, you can sign up with some basic details. For example, your name, email and company details. Of course, if you're a returning user and you already have your password and credentials, you can log in straight away from here and sign in into the platform. Now, as we sign in, you will come onto our landing page, and what I will do is I will first give you a quick overview of the various aspects of this landing page. I will talk about the overall navigation and layout, and then I will go into the specifics and deep dive into each of these
areas. So first and foremost, there is a category level drop down, as you can see from here at the top. And we will be covering all the major direct and indirect categories. For example, facilities management, packaging, IT, telecom. On the direct side, we're looking at for various sectors, for example, in agro meats and ingredients, medical devices and supplies, and so on and so forth. So there's an easy way for you to have this category level view. The other way you can go in and browse content is from this all intelligence view. So if you're in a specific role, for example, you're looking at innovation within the business, or you're in charge of sustainability related aspects, you're more involved on the commodity risk side, so you could browse content from this all intelligence view as well. As Omar alluded to earlier, we also have a dedicated section now covering the impact assessment of COVID-19 on a variety of categories and subcategories. I'll show you this in a little while from now. Other than that, we have a variety of self-service tools and templates that you can download from this section. We also cover many of our own thought leadership resources, blogs, podcasts, so on and so forth, as well as those content pieces from our partners like Spend Matters. Of course, we live in the Google age, so you should be able to search content easily. So in the top menu here, we have the ability for you to search for content, and I'll show you the specifics of this a little later as well. Now, on the main layout page here, you can see that there will be this trending carousel. So every time you log in, you'll be able to see the latest, more widely viewed content across the platform. So it is covering many of the hot topics that are currently in play. Moving down further, we then have specific sections for specific sectors. So, for example, for consumer product goods, this is a listing of the key direct and indirect categories that you can straight away go from here. Similarly, on the industrial side, we're looking at metals, construction, as well as some of the indirect categories like logistics, marketing and sales, and so on. So if you're in a specific sector, it's easy for you to look at the categories of interest from here as well. Moving on, similarly, examples, and I will show you examples in each of these areas as we go through the demo, but I'm quickly giving you a lay of the land as it may be at the minute. So for example, in life sciences, again, there's pharma, APIs, R&D, and so on and so forth. And lastly, at the bottom, there is a section on the indirect categories. As you will notice, and I mentioned earlier, it is covering all the major ones in terms of both the services and products side here. Now, as you start using the platform and you'll be browsing a variety of content, what will happen is your recently viewed items will start showing up at the top here. So over time, this gets more personalized. You will be able to quickly come in and dive into something you were referring to the last time you were on the platform. Other than that, for many of our enterprise clients, the Smart Cube also has custom dashboards and portals for them. So they are, again, accessible through this menu. So it is the single gateway. You don't have to go to another platform. You'll be able to refer to your custom solutions or workflows or dashboards, as the case may be, from within Amplifi PRO. And lastly, as you're browsing this standard content, there may be specific questions. You may want some custom intelligence that you would require. So for that, you can quickly come and request the custom intelligence. If you need any help at any time, you can quickly contact us through this envelope here on the right. So that gives you hopefully a quick overview of the overall navigation. What I'll do now is dive into the specific areas and talk a little bit more about the intuitive features. I'll be picking up examples from a variety of categories across sectors. So hopefully there's something that is of interest to everybody who's on the call with us today. So let's take an example of the pharma R&D category. I'll show you this as a case in point. So when you click on that category, you can see we have different types of reports here. And the key ones are the insight reports. As you can see, we cover a whole variety of subcategories within this, so biomarkers, animal models, lab services, clinical services, and so on and so forth. Similarly, you can keep browsing. There's quite a bit of subcategory coverage here. In total, we cover 400 of these subcategories across the platform. You can keep browsing through this load more button here, or you can of course come to the top and find for anything specific that you may be looking at. Now, what you'll also notice here is we have category news on the right hand side. So this is coming from our text analytics algorithms. It's looking at what is happening on the supplier side, some of the key developments in the category, and so on and so forth. You can also change the category and go to a different one from this drop down easily at the top. Of course, you can go back to the home page and do that as well. But if you're in the life sciences sector, you'll be able to see the other subcategories within and quickly change that as well. So let me now show you an example within this. So let me take biomarkers as an example. So what you do is you click on this and it will open up a new page for the biomarkers category.
Okay, so I was talking about this example of biomarkers in the pharma R&D category. So we have this insight report. In total, we have 400 such across sectors, categories, both on the direct and indirect side. So you can look at the content in here either by scrolling, you can zoom in and out, but you can also literally look at it full screen. And the purpose of these insight reports from our side is to give you a quick overview of insights in that category in terms of what are the key opportunities, what are some of the key risks that buyers are facing, as well as some of the disruptive levers that have the potential to change the category as it looks like today. Of course, we then also cover some of the category fundamentals by providing a quick overview of the supply market, the cost structures, price trends, the key players that operate in there, etc. There is a deep dive on the supply market situation in terms of the competitive intensity, the value proposition of various companies who are in there. And further, we provide a quick overview in the form of a Porter's 5 forces analysis and talk about specific procurement insights in terms of the levers you can use for negotiation, type of contracts that are gaining favor or getting out of favor in the market, typical pricing models that are employed. As you will notice, here and on most of these, content pieces that we have, our focus is on key insights and giving you intelligence in a fairly succinct manner, such that you don't have to troll through tons and tons of data, but rather you're really looking at what's changing in that area and what some of the forward-looking trends may be. So for each of our reports or the category insights that we are covering, we literally have a quick 8 to 10 screen view that should give you the category fundamentals, a quick overview of the suppliers and the supply market situation, as well as some of the key changes and trends that are emerging. What you also have here is some of the recommended reports. So if you're reading about a specific subcategory, then you can look at other recommended reads from our side. You can download this report from here. You can also go to other subcategories within the same area easily from here rather than going back. You also have the opportunity to share this with your colleagues or other people within the organization. So when you, so for example, you're reading this biomarker report and you feel others in the organization will benefit from it, you can quickly add their email address and send them a quick note. They will get the report as a downloadable attachment with their, in their email inbox directly. So that's one of the insight reports I wanted to show you as an example. Let me take you to another page and show you some other type of content and tools that we have.
So now I'm in a packaging area again, similar structure as what we saw for pharma R&D. There are subcategories here, all types of packaging, glass, metal, plastic, and so on and so forth. Same things, you can look at any of these and read the insights on the supply market. But what you can also do is you can run a category strategy simulation from here within the platform. So I'll take the example of corrugated boxes and show you the category strategy simulation that you can run within the tool. So what this does is it asks you a few questions. So there are 12 questions in total that will ask you about you as a buyer and your industry context, as well as your context as a company who's buying that specific subcategory or commodity that you're looking at. So when you're answering these questions, let's say for corrugated boxes, we are trying to assess what your context looks like and what your situation is. So I'm just going to run this quickly as a simulation. But you'll notice, if you can quickly see the questions here, it's trying to understand how the pattern of your spend is. Do you expect it to change over the next few years? What type of supplier relationships do you have? Do you collaborate with them? Or in this space, do you have a single source option? And so on and so forth. And similarly, it's trying to understand how easy it is for you to switch or to manage with substitutes and so on and so forth. So I've answered a few questions here. And what you then do is you run the simulation. As you'll see, the tool will show you some of the strategic options that you have. Now, these are not to say that these are the only category strategies that you can employ, but it is a directional input, which is based on the answers that you provided, which were really to understand the demand power or your context. The situation on the supply side, which also impacts the strategies you can adopt, those answers are already pre-populated by our teams, our specialists. And those answers, again, the tool, because it's a simulation, you can change these answers, but they have been pre-populated from our side. And on that basis, the strategy simulation has been run. So as you can see, we've mapped these on a 4x4 matrix, and for each of these strategies, the tool has recommended a primary strategic option, but also some other options that you can look at. There's more you can read about what factors have driven these strategies being churned out by the tool. Here you can really download this in the form of a PDF document. You can save this as a simulation you run, so you can come back again to it. You can save it for next time, or you can save it to share with colleagues as well. What you can also do is you can compare the strategies. So if it is based on inputs defined by the smart cube versus inputs defined by yourselves, so you can run a couple of simulations and see what the alternatives look like. So that's an interesting tool, and a lot of our users have found this of interest. So please, when you're going through the platform, you can run some of these on your own and see the kind of insights that you're getting.
Prerna,
Yes, Omar.
we have one question that's come in, and that is, for the insight reports, what's the update frequency?
Right. So overall, none of the insight reports that we will have on the platform will be more than a year old. However, in some cases, if some major developments have happened in the supply market or something has changed, for example, there has been a major M&A, or there has been some major trend that has really commercialized now. So those reports will get updated more frequently. However, otherwise, it is at least once a year, the insights will be updated.
Great, thanks.
Okay, so just then moving on to some other content here within packaging as an example. So you can look at cost structure, cost driver data. Now, over the years with many of our clients, we've seen that when they are looking at category strategies or they're looking at negotiations with suppliers, often they are unaware of, the typical cost structure or what drives costs for their suppliers. So with that in mind, our intent here was to give you some easy to use, quick and ready, at least high level insights on for specific sectors, industries, and categories. What does that cost structure look like? What are some of the drivers there? So we were looking at corrugated right now. So let me show you what comes up here. So I can select there's data on multiple countries and similarly on multiple subsectors and categories within that. So I've taken this for the US, and you can see that I can see, okay, typically in this sector, the raw materials, goods and services is the biggest component. Now in some other areas it may be utilities, it may be other operating expenses, and so on and so forth. But you can see quickly that this is what it looks like for this sector. What you can also see is a quick view of other drivers of cost, for example labor, what the average hourly earnings in the country look like. You can also look at any commodities or raw materials that are impacting that specific sector, and you can also lastly look at other drivers like electricity and purchase price index and so on and so forth. So of course this data gets updated depending on the choices that you are making. So I've talked to you about now the examples in the insight reports. I've talked a little bit about the cost structure and drivers as well. Now, as you can see, there are these three other types of content we have, and largely, and I'll give another example from another sector to bring this to life. So overall, I think all of us will recognize that procurement's role has really evolved in the last few years beyond just driving cost savings to look at value delivery, to look at innovation and sustainability as a major theme. So the intent from our side is to, again, give some self-service, ready-to-use content that teams can really go in and quickly get their heads around some of the innovation themes, some of the sustainability trends. And mega trends really are the more fundamental forces at play that have the power to change the fundamentals of that category from a medium to long term perspective. So I'll show you some of these examples now. So going to an example from an industrials or engineering manufacturing sector standpoint, looking at electrical components and supplies. So you look at batteries, and there's a lot of change that's happening there, lots of innovation coming up. So similar to how we saw in the insight reports, you can see that we're really talking about the areas in which the innovation is happening. We're talking about which sectors and industries or end users get impacted. We're talking about some examples on electrolytes in this case, or how it's impacting the area of greening and safety concerns and so on and so forth. And similarly, you can see there's others on printed circuit boards and so on and so forth as content that we're covering on the innovation standpoint. So that's an example here of batteries. I'll use a few different examples because I know there are people from different companies and sectors. So I'm trying to cover different type of examples so everybody can see what's in it for them. So I'll move to an indirects case now. Facilities management, I think, is one of the more popular ones. We definitely get a lot of our clients looking for IFM and FM management in the recent past. So again, FM with FM, what we are covering again here is a variety of the soft and hard services that sit within. And again, you can see, for example, we're covering more regional content as well. So one thing I wanted to talk about is that depending on the category or depending on the subcategory, we also feature regional content as well as global insights, both within the platform. So for example, you can see Asia Pacific and Europe, there's specific insights in there. So, and similarly on mega trends, it'll tell you what some of the mega trends within FM are. Now, as I go along, I'll keep adding some of the things to my favorites. So this is something which I'm interested in. So I'll add it to my favorite, and we'll see later what happens with all of that. Now, so just high level, you can also see insights here from our partner Casme. So Casme is our alliance partner. Some of you may know them already. They cover a lot of peer intelligence and networking events with the procurement community. So we have featured insights from them. For example, the fundamentals here, what some of the strategies are, as well as some of the recent surveys and benchmarks they've run, and how FM category is responding to COVID-19. So you can refer to this type of intelligence from here. So I'll quickly skim through FM response to COVID. So you'll see how other companies across the world are dealing with COVID-19 when it comes to this category, what some of the strategies are, and so on and so forth. So that's an example of FM and how we sit within that. So I've covered most of the content types. Just one last one is remaining from my side, which is on the commodities piece. So I'll quickly talk you through that and give you the examples. Now, again, as we looked at it from a cost structure and driver standpoint, for many categories and subcategories, there is a high exposure to raw material and commodity markets. And there, typically for strategy development, for pricing, contract negotiations, it is quite interesting for people to look at commodity price trends and look at data and what the impact may be on their pricing, on how they negotiate with suppliers, and so on and so forth. So when you come here, you can we cover all the major commodity groups. We have about 1200 odd data series that are covered. So I'll take an example on metals and alloys as the commodity group. As you'll see here, there are others like resins, petchems, agro, dairy, and so on and so forth. So within metal and alloys, let's say, we'll take an example of ferromanganese, and I can see what the commodity price trend looks like. So this is covered for the latest available month. This data is updated on a monthly basis, but of course it based on the frequency of update at the source itself. So this is here. Again, I can add it to my favorite because I'm interested in this commodity. I can download this data in a CSV format. And what I can also do is I can compare this price trend to some other commodity as well. So for example, let's say we want to compare ferromanganese to iron ore prices and see if there is a correlation between prices of ferromanganese in Europe with Asia Pacific iron ore prices. So you can see that there is a decent correlation. It's not very high, but there's a decent correlation here. So similarly, you can, again, when you're going through this, you can browse through and find other commodities in other groups and also run a quick correlation analysis for you to make decisions. I talked about Casme briefly just now and showed you a report. You can again directly go there and access all their intelligence, that we are storing from within here. You can search, for specific categories under this all intelligence view as well. So I've talked about all the standard content across categories, insights on supply markets, commodities, and so on and so forth. The one other thing I'll mention is, as of course we live, we talked about it earlier, in the Google age. So of course we want to be able to quickly find information through search. So that is the easiest option really for you to do that. What you can do is type your search term here, and you can also run a search on everything we have in the platform, or you can run a search on specific areas if you're looking for specific insights. So I'll run this on the whole content we cover, and you can see that we have quite a few results here. Now you can again, look at all the results and go through this here. You can look at specific results within specific content types. So COVID-19, for example, what type of content are we covering there? What are we covering in innovation, and so on and so forth. And again, for ease of use, you can switch between a quick tile and a list view as well, based on your preference. What we've also given here is some, quick tricks and tips for you to refine your search as you use more of the platform. So that's with digital marketing as an example. I'll come quickly to our COVID-19 center now, which when you come here, you can get a quick overview of what's in here. But broadly speaking, we're looking at the impact of COVID-19 on the key industry sectors. We are then looking at the impact on a variety of categories. So what it means for fabricated metal products, what's been the impact on FM, food additives, and so on and so forth. So you can keep browsing from here. We cover 70 odd such impact assessments. You can also go and search quickly from the top in here. We also have video series where really it's Omar and also from our alliance partner Casme, where we are providing perspectives on some of the impact, some of the things to look out for, and again consuming content in a different way. So that's all quite a bit of content here in the resource center, very topical. And this one, these category snapshots, since there was a question earlier, so these category snapshots are being updated pretty much on a monthly or a more regular basis as we are currently in this pandemic impact situation. What there is also is the tools and templates section. We've already looked at this category strategy simulation tool. So again, you can come to it straight from here as well. And then there is a wide variety of these other tools, frameworks, and templates that we've created over the years and our teams are using for intelligence delivery. So for example, there are questionnaires, there are playbooks, and attractiveness methodologies, etc. Something which a lot of our clients have recently shown interest is in the supplier resilience assessment tool. So it's a downloadable tool. If you click on it, you pretty much can download a macro-based Excel and run your own assessments if that's required. So I would suggest that when you go in, there's quite a few of these that you can download and employ within your business as well. So just we've covered quite a bit of content. I guess in the interest of time, I'm not going to go into the other areas like the thought leadership, etc. But I just wanted to quickly show you what if you're going through all this and you have custom questions, so you're reading some insight reports or you're doing looking at some cost data or commodity data, and you have a specific requirement relevant to your business. What you can do is go into our request custom intelligence section. And here, the idea is it's a fairly intuitive process. So what you need to do is you need to choose a type of report. You can select the scope of what you're looking for, and then really just submit your requirements. So there is a menu here. So there is a list of things we can do on a custom basis. You can filter this menu based on the type of intelligence, whether it's risk related or category related or cost related. And you can also filter it by other topics. You can browse again from the top here. So let me take an example. So for example, somebody is looking at a specific custom supply market analysis. So what you can do is, you click here and it shows you a couple of options on the table of contents. So, you can see what's in here. You can download a sample as well. And once, let's say you've gone through this and you feel I'm interested in the silver option, you quickly click on that. You can see a couple of questions where we try to understand from you what the scope is, what context you're looking for, when would you like this custom work to be completed. And let me just show you what happens here. And let's say this is something I want to look at. Now, what you can do is once you've submitted a custom request, you can also track it from within the platform. So you can see, I made all these requests. When are they going to be started? When are they going to end? And who has requested? So at an enterprise level, if you have multiple, people on the platform, who are using the content, but they're also making custom requests, it's easy for you to track what's going on the custom side, really. And again, once we complete these reports or we've delivered the custom results to you, you can again access those files from within the same platform. So it also allows for knowledge management. So if somebody in Asia requested for something, but you have another person in the US who might have same requirements, they can quickly look at that within the same platform rather than having to go check on emails or look at your local drives or SharePoints, etc. So the idea here is that all your standard intelligence and the custom work for your organization can sit within the same platform. So that's what we're looking at here. So just a couple of quick other things. In some cases, we may not have a gold or a silver option where you can just go and make a custom request on that basis as well. Now, for many of our enterprise customers, for existing clients where we have, custom custom, deliverables for them, their portals or their platforms are integrated already here. So all that is seamless. You can move from one platform or one solution from the Smart Cube to another. So I just wanted to show you one other thing as we talked about it earlier. So as you would have noticed, I kept marking a few things as my favorite. So what happens is that as you've gone through the platform, if there are specific categories or data series that are of interest to you, you can mark them, and then you can go into your my favorite section, and there all of these feature as well for you. So what you can do is you can set this up as your home page, which really means that the next time you come into the platform, you don't come on a standard login page, you come to a more personalized landing page where you can see some of the new things that may have come up in areas of interest to you, etc., etc. There's also a demo video here that again, is a fairly high level summary of everything we've talked about in this demo. But those are all the major, things we wanted to quickly show you and talk through. Thank you very much for listening patiently to me. I apologize. The audio wasn't great, but hopefully it's been better in the last few minutes. And now I think we'll take some questions as we've done the overall, or we've covered at least the key topics we wanted to from our side.
Prerna, thanks very much for taking us through that. We do have a few questions that are coming in, and by the way, yes, the audio improved materially for the bulk of the session. So let me just kind of bundle some of the questions that are coming in. There's some specifics around the technicalities of the platform, and there's some around the actual content that's there. So yeah, I guess let me start with kind of the fundamental overall question. How many users can join from a specific company? Is there any limitation there?
No, so there is no limitation on the number of people who can join from a specific organization. So we don't have user-based licenses or a number of users, any limitation on that.
Great. If I'm going through a particular report, and if I want to, let's say I pick up the IFM report or any one of the category reports or insight reports, actually any content that's here, and we want to speak to I want to speak to the analyst who's created the report. Can I do that? And is there a process for me to do that?
Yes, so you can do that. So at any time, if you're anywhere on the platform, or if you're reading any specific report, you'll always see this contact us envelope that comes up. So if you just quickly click on that and just say want to talk to the category specialist or want to talk to the analyst who prepared this FM report, then we'll be in touch with you and organize that for you.
Awesome. All right, a couple more questions. What do we do? What do I do if I try and access the platform, but there are some technical issues for any reason it isn't working? What should I do? Who should I contact?
So in that case, we have a general email address called
inquiries@thesmartcube.com. So if for whatever reason you're not able to access the platform, you can write there. But as an overall view, generally what we've seen is that the user experience is optimal in Chrome and Edge browsers. So if you are using Internet Explorer, there might be technical issues there. The platform's optimized for Chrome and Edge. So do try to use those browsers, and you should typically not end up with technical issues.
Great. All right, I've got two more. Do I get access simply by creating an account?
That's right. Yes. So if you just log into the link amplifypro.thesmartcube.com, or you come here from the SmartCube website or any of our social channels, you'll literally just come on to this homepage. I'll quickly show that again. So you will come on this page. What you need to do is go to sign up, enter a few basic details, and you should be able to get in and access the platform straight away.
Great. All right. And I think one last question, and then we can wrap up. How can I schedule a specific demo for my company?
Right. So if you're an existing, enterprise client for the SmartCube, you all will have client leads. So they will be in touch. Some of them have been in touch in the past already, but if required, you can get in touch with your client leads and they'll organize a specific demo for you. For anybody on the call who's not, an enterprise or existing client of the SmartCube, please again write to us at inquiries@thesmartcube.com, and we can organize something or schedule something for you more specifically as well.
Awesome. Great. Well, thanks, Prerna, for walking us through that. Thank you, everybody who's attended the session today. Apologies again for some of the audio issues right at the outset. What we're going to do is most likely we'll re-record this and share that link with everybody so that you can watch this webinar again, understand more and learn more about the platform, or just simply revisit some of the aspects that we went through today. Of course, if you have additional questions, reach out to us, let us know, and we're happy to answer questions that you've got. And of course, feel free to share the link to the platform with anybody that you think might benefit from getting access to it. It is free to access, as we said. So thanks again, everybody. We really appreciate you making time today for the webinar, and we'll look forward to being in touch. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.